Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, fine. So, shall we start?
Yeah, I'm all out for it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to our research discussion seminar 5. I'm pleased to serve as your co-moderator for today's seminar organized by the Academic Writing Research Unit. It's a pleasure to see such interest from colleagues and participants. Before we begin, I'd like just to emphasize that today's session is designed as a discussion seminar. We truly encourage you to share thoughts, raise questions, and engage with ideas presented. The value of this session comes from dialogue, not just delivery. Let me introduce our chair for this seminar, Dr. Mohammed Haseen. Dr. Mohammed Haseen Ahmed is an experienced ELT professional and active researcher who believes education should change lives with contributions to books and research published on various platforms. His research focuses mainly recently on using AI language teaching. Our topic today is how generative AI is reshaping student writing, a data-driven perspective for writing instructors. As many of you have observed, generative AI is increasingly influencing how students approach academic writing. It's shaping language use, tone, and structure, while also raising important questions about authenticity, student voice, and academic integrity. So today's seminar invites us to explore these changes not only from a theoretical perspective, but through data-driven insights that can inform our teaching practices. So once again, welcome. I encourage you to stay engaged throughout, and I now invite Dr. Mohammed Haseen to begin the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khalid.
Dr. Mohammed Haseen,
Yeah,
the floor is yours.
yeah,
Enable
thank
your
you.
mic, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khalid.
Yes, please.
Yeah, today we're here for deliberations on how generative AI, which is all in the buzz, is reshaping student writing. And it's a data-driven perspective for we writing instructors because it helps us gain insight into the outcomes, the consequences, the resultant impacts on our learners' writing. Not just mechanics, but also total productivity. So I'd like to all of you to think in terms of how much of generative AI is being deployed in our context. Actually, 2022, it has surged to 92%. You can see 88% of students now integrate AI into assessment workflows. Probably it may not be a scenario at our place, but this change is paramount everywhere, and it's not just a move beyond cheating versus not cheating. It's all rampant. It's being used, and it's being augmented for even authorship. But our concern is whether this article, which has been set for the agenda for, actually there are 3 articles that are suggested to be read before we could discuss on the. So there are certain highlights that I would use it as prompts to trigger the discussions among you. And probably if you have read those articles, you might have formed an impression that it has increased. See the percentage increase, like 50 to 88%, then drafting double form 30%, 64%. But unfortunately, our preparedness, like staff preparedness, teachers, it remains low, 40%. So that means there are some skeptics, naysayers, or those people who are not still in for the usage, whatever form it may be. So probably the resource crunch also sometimes, internet activity access, hardware access, and those kind of things also contribute to low preparedness or reluctance or hesitancy. We call it hesitancy. So, but ours intention will stop our learners from using them at their own disposal in their own time frame and with their own autonomy while using these tools. So this kind of gap can be widened with our right for interventions. And so this research, which was carried out by always a bit late now, because too many researches have been undertaken so far. Even the deployment of these AI tools, and whether it's feedback or whether it's pre-writing, post-writing, it has changed a lot. But these are the few concerns and that I'd like to you to have a look on. Like all over, classroom protocols are different. How much of these texture like students writing quality is being measured or being tested or assessed on the basis of feedback from the tools itself. So but there are three kinds of writers, and it can be a high level. Like those who are flying in the air, and those who are the middle level, those low achievers who are still not able to adopt. So we'll consider how paragraph structures impacts, how the mechanical structure changes, how motivated they are, and how far they're driven by what purpose. But the fact remains the instrumental help, like 81%. AI is a tutor for clarifying concepts and summarizing research. No doubt it comes very handy for every learner, and also helps in overcoming. And I guess all of you would agree that sometimes we have blocks, writer blocks, not coming with thesis ideas or not having difficulty with outlining those things. So they can come handy. So AI generates drafts or edits prose invisibly. That means the background that does the heavy lifting. But the risk of AI replacing student voice and original meaning, that remains. That means we cannot let the AI alone do the entire job of refinement, polishing, editing, those kind of. So it depends on what stage of writing, academic writing, we are using them as. No doubt, the research shows that lexical sophistication, that means AI permutations are very direct, very pointed, poignantly placed, and also quite expressive with high lexis vocabulary, and content bearing words enhances and nuance para become fewer but shorter. That means more precise. Obviously, that kind of precision and very high order of writing competence comes only after lots of rehearsal and rigorous practicing. But these LLM models, they can spit out within seconds. So yes, it is show lower anaphor overlap. That means pronoun referent links. Anaphor overlap is like kind of choice of words or phrases or collocations, or so they have lower anaphor overlap. Weaker referential continuity can disturb argument flow depending upon the genre. Also it's genre specific, like argumentative or so. Over other cohesion types like noun overlap remain stable, important to balance lexical gains with coherence strategies. So coherence is achieved at one go, which is really difficult for low level writers, achievers. So in a small groups, analyze sample pairs for cohesion, and this was what was done during the research. So if I'm just sticking to what was carried out during the research, what were the findings? The findings will leave you stunned in the sense that I'm coming to that, and I'll show you that the with the AI withdrawal and AI assistance, There wasn't much of the difference, in fact, except there are areas of these like lexical sophistication and syntactic density and packaging. Like content is condensed into noun-like frame rather than spread. Reflects and shift on how ideas are packaged linguistically. So this is not a session where I need to let all of you know what actually happens when AI is deployed, since the research says something which I'm trying to bring to your notice. So what is the overall impact known as ACE equality? Despite linguistic shift, holistic ACE equality ratings remain stable. That means there isn't much of a difference if we assess them with the holistic rubric. So AI permitted, AI prohibited. If you withdraw or you deploy, or pre-AI is show comparable quality. That means there's a very thin margin, a razor thin margin. Students achieve similar results through different linguistic routes. Highlights importance focus on the process and just product. So equity implication, the leveling. If AI reduces writing time for no doubt by up by 65%, and that's a huge advantage for those who are really competent in writing. So AI assistant raises ESL grades from B plus to A on average. Average, but we have three categories of writers that I'm coming to pinpoint. AI lowers, that means language anxiety by managing grammar and syntax. AI lowers the burden of like affective filters of, there are students who fear committing grammar errors, syntax, and because of that fear, they're not able to carry out their tasks properly or give out their best. So frees cognitive resource for complex reasoning arguments. Sometimes it frees your time by repetitive, avoiding you delving into repetitive things. And so the cognitive load is reduced, and probably students could use that into reasoning argumentation. If it is an argumentative essay, I told that this is genre based. So reflective writing, what about as an instructor, writing instructor, what do we do? How could AI support ESL first generation students? These are the questions we need to ponder upon. And I'll leave the floor for all of you to come up with your ideas of consider how to integrate AI tools equitably, and also with loads of assistance from we human instructors during the. So, what are the actions that, if you agree with the actions, like is to be process-oriented pedagogy? So, like require portfolios. Brainstorming stage. Can we allow them for mind mapping? Can we allow them annotated bibliography and draft revisions? And we can have in-class writing reflection without digital aids. That means peer check, and even the group display of the writings can help us pinpoint some of the, depends upon what kind of writing culture. So emphasize as an evolved, because since writing is an evolved process, it takes a prolonged exposure to. So we need to, this is the second action, my like recommendation. Critically, AI literacy is important. Before adoption, let's see that only 36% receive formal AI training. The research, they found that students were not well exposed to, and they were required to have confidence with the AI usage, deployment, corrections, biases, finding, and our teacher job gets even more important while overseeing these kinds of things. So let's teach our students to verify age-generated content for errors, and as the hallucination is rampant, and even the largest language models, they are not immune to these kind of lacuna hallucinations. So we can use exercises to identify logical fallacies in our text, and prompt engineering as rhetorical skill development. That means we can allow some of the scripted prompts engineering, especially for like process descriptions, where like we have sequence marking and firstly, secondly, and thirdly. Those kind of rhetorics can be taught. So uh, so we can have pairs of identified three factual logical errors to find from the AI uh, led text, and then also critically evaluate outputs. So these are some more recommendations, like normalized transmissible AI using assignment. That means there should be protocol, institutional or even classroom practice. And we as teachers, we can have our own set of rules or a guidebook, and it has to be transparent. I mean, it has to be brought to notice of everyone. Require reflection statement. Leading use and rejected suggestions, like what can be discarded, where we can prune their projections, and also we should have full control over our students, control over AI, and the AI influence, supports ethical and thoughtful AI education. So human edge is paramount, like AI can assist, could be as a co-pilot, a co-assessor, a co-feed generator. But the student's unique voice, especially when it's imaginative writing or kind of original writing, where they're supposed to come up with their own judgment, critical judgment. So where they have to risk-take original reason beyond age-generated norms. Like there are some bright writers, they always come up with the inner strength. I mean, we write through the strength of what comes from our not only cognitive ability, but also our imaginative faculties. So if we foster awareness, strength limitations, and we collaborate, so AI could get along, we can have. So we can have classroom protocols and all that. So if I had to uh, show you even more how generative AI reshapes, this is another document where you can clearly see that how generative AI has reshaped based on these. Actually, there are three articles that in our seminar we have suggested, and I'm not sure whether this has been read by all of you and you are aware of, but it's all about how generative AI reshapes student writing, like this, linguistic analysis essays produced under AI permitted, AI specified, then policies, complex pattern changes. So actually, unfortunately, or surprisingly, but ironically, uh, you can see not a simple gain or loss in quality, but a selective redistribution of linguistic resources only. So that means the wider glaring changes or glaring highlights could be only vocabulary. The choice of words could be like can be active words, passive words, high lexis, low lexis, syntax, cohesion, and structure. So this position has synthesized current empirical findings of researchers and writing program directors navigating the post-AI classroom. That means we have classrooms where we have the full authority, full permission to use AI tools. And I'll show you the NFRs, like the core findings: redistribution, not decline. What are the changes? It's all about systematic measurable shifts across multiple existing dimensions simultaneously. Some features improve in measurable ways. What are those features? It could be like what changes? Lexical sophistication, as I already mentioned, that the choice of vocabulary. Then vocabulary density, referential cohesion, anaphor overlap decreases.
Dr. Muhammad,
Yeah,
Dr. Muhammad Hassin, are you sharing your screen, please? We can't see your screen.
can't see
Can
my
you please share
screen.
your screen?
Can't see my
please.
screen. Oh, okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
We will, because we lost your screen. Please share it again. Thank you.
Oh.
No worries. Take your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. How about now?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So anyway, So I wasn't aware that the screen has disappeared. Okay.
No, no problem. You can see your screen. Thank
Okay.
you. You may go on.
Yeah. So let me go back to this one. Applied linguistic search and selective redistribution and linguistics. So what I was trying to analyze was that the generative AI empirical findings are all about this is empirical finding, not a simple gain or loss in quality. So quality remained unchanged by and large. And this is ironical, in fact. So the core finding redistribution, not decline. Like redistribution is what? The mechanical aspects. So what changes do you notice? If I show you, you can see in the red boxes, lexical sophistication, that means higher order lexis. Vocabulary was dense. Referential cohesion and alpha overlap decreases. That means that's a gain. Syntactic packaging shift towards nominal forms. That means ing forms as a gerund, like the subject. Paragraph structure becomes more compact. That means they're very precise and brevity. So that only a seasoned writer can master over the years. It doesn't come overnight. So what stays the same? Overall word and sentence counts remain comparable. Holistic essay quality ratings show no significant difference. Noun and argument overlap remain stable. Student achieve comparable outcome via different linguistic routes. The implication is clear. AI use does not erase student agency. That's fortunate. That's good to know that. Or competence. It redirects how that competence is expressed linguistically. You see the anaphor pronoun reference, core reference chains, then we have antecedent findings, we have discourse cohesion. So writing volume, structure, organization, if you look at these, I give you a minute to have a look. Fewer, shorter paragraphs, readability versus concepts depth, implications for instructions. That means, I mean, these are the, understanding AI impact. Macro structure student aces. This is not micro, macro. I mean, overall, general, larger level. Word counts, sentence counts remain statistically comparable between permitted and pre-AI cohorts. Students are not simply generating longer texts. However, the internal organization of those texts shifts in meaningful ways. What are the meaningful ways? You can see fewer but shorter paragraphs. Readability, surface level increases. Conceptual depth. This may come at the cost of concept. That means students may not understand what is writing or grappling with because the ideas are not original. So, and they're not developed fully or elaborated or connected because it's not processed. It's half cooked, underbaked. Implications for instructions, paragraph level development, not just the presence of idea, but the elaboration and integration. Now, let's say lexical sophistication, clear gain. Obviously, large language models are based on the exposure to the world corpus. I mean, entire internet world, is all fed into the. So obviously, nothing can match. It's incomparable. Lexical specifications, greater lexical variety, higher type token ratios, less frequent, less familiar vocabulary, increased abstractions. That means content bearing and abstract words. And that poses a challenge. It's like dense conceptual meaning. So these gains are not trivial actually, because lexical sophistication comes after decades of practice, and one of the strongest predictor of holistic writing quality. But depends on the level of the writer, and are they beginners? Are they? So now a measurable trade-off. What is a trade-off? Why vocabulary? I mean, on one hand we are gaining, on the other hand we are losing. But we're striking a balance. That's what is the onus of we writing instructors. And when it dimensions of quality, writing quality shows a countervailing decline. Referential cohesion, linguistic glue that ties sentences and ideas together across a text weakens in measurable ways in AI permitted essays. It's quite obvious. We can see that. because it's spitting out and churning out like a factory, like a mill. Obviously, it's like predictive large language models that predict the next findings. This is one of the most important findings of educators concerned with argumentative coherence. I mean, especially in argumentative ACEs, where we build the argument brick by brick. So, why does it matter? Weaker referential continuity, noun overlap, and argument overlap. Syntactic density and nominal packaging. Now look, this is very clear. You can see in this what has gone up, what has gone down. Increase in AI, gerund density, grammatical metaphor, decrease in AI, verb phrase density, passive voice. Actually, we need passive voice in specific scientific and discourses. So depends upon the we're losing the advanced academic register. If you talk about register, it means the intended reader, the listener, the kind of target audience. Because readers are like listeners, and we have to modify. Where we need to have syntactics, where we have to grade undergrade, overgrade, and tailor to the needs of the readers, depending upon conveyance of the messages. So this is even more nuanced understanding of how gerunds, passive grammatical metaphors have gone up or down, and why, and what impact does it have on the writing caliber of our young budding writers, and why is it important, genre specific, level specific, and because I'm talking about in general. We're not talking about target level. CFR 1 or 2 or 3 or kind of European standard. So it's all about the impact of the general impact, and we're not even considering the social linguistic aspect of things, and that I don't have time to brush over. So, but as I began with, no significant difference, 100% comparable final drafts, and that's very ridiculous, in fact. So that means an assessment criteria also needs to evolve with a kind of which can see the nuanced impact on writing. AI degradative or AI progressive? Is it a stumbling block to the linguistic pathways, or is it really facilitate the low achievers, low learners, or whether it's weakening their confidence level stance? So this research doesn't come up with very it's a lukewarm response to, and I'm really skeptical about the research's validity, and because in 2 years, lately 1 year, things have drastically moved towards. Uh, I don't know whether we should call it promising or a peril for learners or for educators. Implications of writing program policies. So no doubt that we will continue to evolve, having better revised assessment rubric, getting to cheat, pronoun clarity. Cohesion instruction. That's why the unique intervention of the teacher educator, or as a writer educator or instructor, writing instructor, our jobs there to strengthen cohesion structure, then trying to scenario-based guidelines. That means what kind of genre, not the vague AI deployment of, because we cannot use Gemini and then we have so many. So it's a bit daunting and perplexing, to tell you the truth. All of us are now aware of this, So invest in local research. What works for us in our AWC writing scenario in our classrooms with our own students, with our own tracks, with our own. So we need to have a real look, and then we have to have our own research potential and research bodies to look into the efficacy or students' agency. So this body of research represents an early but rigorous effort. And early, I told you, as like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it doesn't work anymore. It was a rigorous effort, but it may not hold much water at a time now, because the way things are moving so fast, effective student writing, the findings are consistent enough to inform policy, yet specific enough to reveal genuine complexity. The complexity remains, It is a synthesis of the most actionable insight. What do we do? What kind of questions do we ask? What do we further investigate? Now, what are the open research questions that I want you to have a look and spend a minute on these questions before we open for open discussions on. Look at these open research questions, and what are the findings here? Parameter writing shows selective redistribution, referential cohesion decrease. I mean, these are the highlights, but these are the questions to ponder over. Especially assessment rubric evolve. I mean, how we develop our assessment rubric as a feedback AI stage of, and where do we deploy it as, and where do we withdraw? Where do we restrict? Is it drafting? Is it revising? It is holistic assessment? Is it brainstorming? Is it? I mean, what stage? So look at this. These findings is AI policy decisions should be grounded in local evidence and aligned with specific learning outcomes, not generalized fears or enthusiasms. This is the general takeaway, that we cannot one size fits all kind of policy. I mean, nothing works if we don't tweak it in accordance with our. So these are the pertinent questions to be asked, to be deliberated upon, and
Sorry to interrupt, Dr. Hussein. Can I just pick one of these questions just to
sure,
discuss
please.
it?
Yes,
I think,
that's what I intend to.
Yeah, like how should assessment rubrics evolve to capture AI influence writing fairly and accurately? I like this question. So, any ideas, ladies and gentlemen here? Any of you have any ideas about the rubrics? How can we improve our assessment rubrics to cope with the AI tools now and AI influence writing fairly and accurately? Any ideas how do we need to improve our writing assessment rubrics to cope with the new technologies of AI? Any ideas? You can just type. You can use the mic to speak. Any insights, thoughts about this, the assessment rubrics? All right.
So can I chime in just to prompt some, like assessment rubrics needs to be evolved. I mean, like it's a continuous process, and if you could get along well with the holistic one, depending upon what kind of objectives you are aiming for. Like, do you want them just to pass the exam, have good grades, to clear IELTS exam, to have a good band, or good to be a proficient writer? I mean, depends on. So it needs to be evolved depending upon, and it can be tweaked and it can be overseen. Like, we can have action research by the teachers, by the educator writers in the classroom itself. We can have exploratory models like looking at the text of our own learners. Like L2 learners are very different in the sense that it's always loaded with, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it depends upon, our objectives, our rationale of, I mean, we always have an, objective. So obviously we cannot altogether ban these AI altogether. I mean, there's no point, like, it's like putting the horse before the cart. So our job is to, like, at any stage of, if we could, harness it. For example, this child may be struggling with certain aspects of his writing. We don't know, for, I mean, depends upon. So it can always be handy, helpful, and like, removing the writer's block. I mean, he's not coming with any idea of his own. There could be scaffolding, kind of like a gap filling, or
Yeah, I see what you mean, Ron. Yeah, we're talking about assessment, and we've seen how AI can level the field for ASL students. I just love to hear from any one of you who has navigated this. How has it changed your grading? Remember that the data shows that massive jump to about 92% AI usage. Does this match what you are seeing in your own classrooms, or these numbers are surprising to you? Of course, we can all agree that most students now, if not all of them, are using AI tools, especially in writing and for drafting. But how you're grading and you're writing rubrics and tweaking these rubrics, how has that changed over the last 2 years, for example? Any thoughts, ideas about this?
Hello, Dr. Khalid.
Yes, hi, Ms. Sundus.
And hello, Dr. Muhammad. Thank you so much for your insightful seminar. I just want to reflect on my students, actually. I teach the health track. And I noticed that nowadays, because they are writing essays, so they usually use AI to write like a sample for them. And then they take it as a sample or as a like template to write for their quizzes and their final writing, whatever. I think in my own view, I think it's not really useful to use the AI to write or to enhance anything in their writing level, unless they follow the writing rubric. So if the students actually use AI, they should give clear instructions about the rubric, about the sample of writing. I guess they should follow this. And if they didn't follow, they will have a lot of mistakes. They will never learn how to write good essays. That's it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sanders, for your input. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I've noticed my students, I'm also teaching the ELI health track. And I've noticed recently that they've started using these templates that you're talking about for assisting them in writing. It's really helpful. It can improve their writing skill. But have you tried to tweak, to change it, to improve your assessment criteria to cope with the AI generation? Any ideas? How has your writing assessment criteria, how has that changed over the last 2 years? Are you still using the same? Because to me, I still see that we are still using the same rubrics that we've created like 2, 3, 4 years ago, even before the inauguration of AI in 2022. So I'm still using the same rubrics because sometimes we need to improve these assessment tools to adapt with what has happened in the last 2, 3 years because of AI generation. Any ideas? Are you just following it by book, the rubrics as they are, or you adapt it? Anyone would like to share ideas about the assessment of writing? All right.
Hey, Dr. Khalid. I think that it's very important to notice the real paragraphs or the real essays they're writing. Are they authentic? Authenticity, this is the word. I think authenticity is very important. For example, if they're writing about diseases, they reflect, for example, they write, they reflect on their own, for example, experiences, not only just following the sample. They have like a table with 2 diseases, for example, to make a comparison contrast essay. Yeah, contrast essay. So they have to reflect also from real life. This is how I can make like an overview for assessment, not only for the level of the grammar and so the quality of writing plus the authenticity. I guess this is very important to put in mind while assessing writing of students.
Thank you so much. So do you think that now, since holistic essay quality remains stable according to research, regardless of AI use, and as Dr. Mohammed mentioned, following what the findings of this research, should we stop grading the final product and focus more on the writing process itself? What do you think?
Yes, it's very important to make a balance between both the product and the quality of
the writing process. And I think we do that in the healthcare track with the steps, right? We do that because we've got step 1, step 2, step 3, and we grade them until we that will be leading to the final draft. Yeah. So more focus should be, I think, and probably more weight should be given to the process, to the steps, more than to the final product, because that would be one of the influences of AI tools. Now we give less weight to the steps, to the writing steps, and more weight to the final product. Probably we need to invert that. We need just to focus more on the process, the steps. We give them more grade weight, more than the final product. Maybe this is one of the things that we need to discuss as ESL educators. Yeah. Fluency over accuracy. Yeah, this is also important. You're right. It comes especially with assessing speaking. Right. Okay. Dr. Mohammed, Sorry to interrupt you. Remember, it's just reading discussion, research discussion, seminars. So we're just trying to provoke discussion and trigger these questions, and so that we give chance to anybody to participate in his or her ideas and thoughts about how he or she has changed teaching and assessing writing the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, that's quite enlightening for me as well. The researches are carried in specific domains, a specific context, a specific, like this has 500 some students from, I don't know on which background they are from and what kind of. So bringing it to our context, certain things need to be like, we need to, guard ourselves and our interest. Obviously, we're leveraging AI. And if you look at these four, like this will spur the discussions further. What are the instructional implications? Like as teachers, we
Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, can we avoid, these four essentials, like leverage AI, utilize gains in lexical precision, reinforce, like teach referential continuity explicitly. Explicitly is not like understood or implicitly and explicitly. I mean, our job involves, full presence, in the presence of the AI. Coherence, focus on argumentative flow over decorations. Like just polishing aspect is okay once they are done. As someone pointed that we need authentic production, and that's our intention. So decoration can come later, like sprucing up the drafts, revising, revisiting, and all that. Getting to substitute with synonyms, synonymous words, antonyms, and those come handy. And genre is very important, like genre as health tracks, as far as I understand, that they're all like template kind of things, like disease and symptoms and how to diagnose and all. So we compare even two diseases with different symptoms and different treatment. So they're like factual paragraphs and doesn't leave much room for going beyond what is expected. There's no imagination. It has to be with a complete brevity, factual statement of, and even the choice of words. They're all fixed, in fact, in the medical terminologies. So not going anything beyond that, except that they are attaining cohesion through sequence markers in the process or steps or causes and reasons and cause and effects and all that. So there are so many genres of writing, and it's not just one. So health tracks, you may be grappling with something else. Then we have communication track, like Ellis. Then we have other kinds of writing genres.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Mohammed Hassin. Thank you so much for your presentation. Today's discussion highlighted not only how generative AI is reshaping students' writing, but also the important role we play as educators in guiding its responsible and effective use. I also appreciate the spirit of discussion that defined this session. We encourage you to continue this dialogue beyond today, whether in your classrooms, research, or future seminars. And on behalf of the Academic Writing Research Unit, thank you all for attending. And I'm going to share with you now the evaluation link to get the certificates. Thank you so much for your attendance. Thank you so much, Dr. Hassin, for this thought-provoking presentation.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. So I guess the most important thing in this seminar are the implications of this study. So we have to shift as educators. We have to shift in what good writing means, actually. So it's not only about quality of writing. It's not only about fluency for vocabulary. We have to move to reasoning, to depth, to more depth, and integration of ideas. And we should also redesign rubrics to be updated with the current situation. And I guess also, as Dr. Khalid said, there should be greater focus on writing as a process. And also we have the authenticity element, the academic integrity. That's it. Thank you so much, Dr. Muhammad and Dr. Khalid.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sindus. I've just shared the evaluation form with you. Please take like 1 minute or so to fill it in. And if any one of you who is interested in sharing any of our upcoming research, discussion, seminars, that would be our pleasure. Thank you so much for your attendance.
So do you have any questions or any comments? You're more than welcome.
Is the link working? No issues with the link?
Thank you, Dr. Khalid, for according me an opportunity to be a part of this insightful discussion session. I hope it has generated some kind of like heartfelt concerns about writing, which remains mostly the lopsided component of our teaching, and because it's quite rigorous and it takes time, we hardly get adequate time in our classroom conditions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Muhammad. Thank you. And let me just remind you, ladies and gentlemen, please to fill in the evaluation form. Dr. Muhammad Hassin, anyways, is sharing this. It's not his own research. It's just research discussion seminar, just to share ideas, and he's been sharing his experiences. And you're more than welcome just to share. If you also would like to share your experiences about how AI has influenced writing, teaching, and assessment, you're more than welcome, even if you'd like to share that by email or even through this evaluation form that we've shared with you. Thank you so much for your attendance.
Okay, goodbye.